Chanel here, your menopause nutritionist. Today I'm going to run through some of the current trends, mainly in nutrition and diet, and rate them out of 10. I'm actually putting together a social media post for this, and I thought this actually would be a great chat to have with you guys so I can expand on some of these areas and explain why I'm rating them what I do out of 10 based on how they help my menopausal tribe, myself, from my own personal experience, and of course working with hundreds of women. I think that's why I have such a great ability to help people on their journey, because when you work with hundreds of people, you see so many different variations, cultural different challenges. Like there's so many different things that build up how you interact and work and give someone different strategies, and I think that's like super helpful, obviously helping you on your journey to be your best self, because I know you're listening to this because you actually want better for yourself. If you're like me, I am super passionate about changing the current statistics on aging for women, for myself and for anyone that listens to me. So I feel like if you're listening to what I'm sharing, then you are caring about your own health and wellness and you want better for yourself. So it's important as women that we are keep expanding our knowledge and stay around positivity. Like hopefully I'm inspiring you in some way to be a better version of yourself. Okay, so I'm going to just go through this and rate them out of 10, and I'm going to expand on why I've given them that number, and that hopefully will help. So the first thing is Ozempic and GLP-1s. So I am going to rate that probably a 7 out of 10. I think a lot of people actually may find this helpful. However, the reason I have given it that rating is because one, not everyone needs it. Two, if you use it, it's not a silver bullet like that suddenly solves everything. You really need support and you need lifestyle interventions. Generally, the reason that you're needing it in the first place is because you are not ticking the boxes on your lifestyle. However, some people really do need help, and it can be very helpful. The next one is intermittent fasting. So those of you who have listened to me for a while will know that I'm probably going to give intermittent fasting like an 8 or even a 9 out of 10. And the reason for that is I have personally had great experience with it. I think I've studied fasting. So I think fasting is like nature's medicine, if you like. We can easily use fasting and apply it to help the body in a lot of different areas. Now, generally I'm working with women in menopause, and generally they come to me because they have body composition goals. That is often the call to action. In saying that, the cool thing is that here in this space, menopause is now getting a lot more traction, a lot more airtime, and people are actually turning up just because they want to learn to manage their menopause journey better, and they want to just know all the things, which is really cool. But I will just be honest with you and tell you that the body composition piece is probably the driving factor why women seek me out. So that being said, I actually still use intermittent fasting to help manage my calories. I find it a really helpful tool. It does not give you fat loss, so you can still use intermittent fasting and over-consume your calories, which means no change in your body composition. So don't think it's like a magic bullet for fat loss or body composition. It's not. It definitely can be a helpful tool in like helping inflammation, for actually giving your metabolism a change, for helping manage your calories, but actually it is not necessarily a fat loss tool. So I do still really rate it. I think it's very helpful to be metabolically flexible. So that is why I gave it that rating. Keto diet. The keto diet, I would give a 2 out of 10. Most people, I generally would not recommend going on a keto diet as a nutritionist, even though I am a keto coach. I have studied ketosis, I've done it myself. It is not something that I would recommend for a long-term outcome. Now, the reason for that is cutting a food group out of your diet is, as far as I'm concerned, not essential. So the reasons that I would use a keto diet is generally because it's a therapeutic diet, the same as carnivore. Like I have used it with clients over the time for specific purposes. So when I'm answering questions here, it's like kind of across the general population, and generally I wouldn't recommend someone actually do the keto diet too necessarily. So hopefully that makes sense. Strength training, I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10. Absolutely, on your menopause journey, it is a non-negotiable. And whether you like it or not, I am going to die on a hill on this one, because as estrogen declines in the body, resistance training, lifting weights, building muscle, strength training is the central nervous system override that allows our body to build muscle when estrogen is no longer around. So it is a non-negotiable. Plus, like I talked about right at the start, changing the statistics on women's aging, muscle is something we are losing 1%. It actually, I think, accelerates on the menopause journey, but 1% of muscle mass every year if we're not doing something about it. So keeping muscle in our body, we know that it works like synergistically with bone health. Muscle and bone equals longevity. It's a non-negotiable, 10 out of 10 strength training. Weighted vests. So this is kind of a new tool in the toolbox. I have a weighted vest. I wear it every day when I walk my dogs. I think a weighted vest is a 9 out of 10. It is such an easy way to up-spec your walking. It will elevate your heart rate. Like I deal with hundreds of women, and so varying degrees. Like we just talked about strength training. So many women I meet have never lifted a weight in their life. However, they're already walking and they can throw a weighted vest on and it up-specs their walk straight away. So I feel like it's a really great tool in the toolbox to be able to up-spec what you're already doing and give your body some weight on it as well. So I definitely love the weighted vests. Being in a calorie deficit. I think if you have fat loss goals, it is a 9 out of 10. Like, I don't know what really, like if you have fat loss goals, I'd say it's a 10 out of 10 actually. Because if you do not know how many calories you're eating and you're not in a calorie deficit, how do you know that you're ever going to get your goals? So I don't think being in a calorie deficit is a long-term situation. There are strategies around it, and as a nutritionist, obviously, like I've just put a new fat loss module in my current program for this reason. When we actually understand the process, then it helps us achieve our goals. In the process of being in a calorie deficit and following the gold standards of that, you learn so much about the nutrition you're consuming, because my goal for people working with me is actually understanding how much food they get to eat, because it's individual. Everyone looks different. So they learn that, and then they are managing that for the rest of their life. They don't have to do a diet again. So it's absolutely like a 10 out of 10 for fat loss goals and changing your body composition. Otherwise, you just have no metric. It's like me wanting to sail to New Zealand and having no map. How do I know it? How will I ever get there? I just have no way. I will never get there. So that is the fat loss part of this situation. Okay, meal replacement shakes. They can have their place. I am not a huge fan of replacing a meal with a shake. However, some people who are super busy, it could be a helpful tool. I want to say 4 out of 10. Really, if you do my programs, you realize how easy it is to prepare your own food, and it takes no time. I actually teach this on my programs. So this is one of the, I think, the misconceptions that people have, that they have no time. But actually, that's one of the things I teach on my programs, is that you don't have to have much time when you're throwing something in a slow cooker and you come back and it's cooked for you. It really doesn't take much effort and time. So yeah, I mean, I think they can serve a purpose, but generally I would much rather you eat your food and consume your micronutrients and all the things you need. Walking 10,000 steps a day, 10 out of 10. It's really, really, like, walking has so many benefits. And like we just talked a little bit before about the weighted vest, you can easily upspec it. Everyone can do it. So if I'm dealing with someone who has never like exercised before, or everyone can walk. It's when I had my back surgery, it's the one thing I could do. My back injury recently, couldn't do any other exercise, I could walk. So generally it's a great thing, and our society doesn't move enough, and it's so many benefits. Cognitive, like body, amazing. Not eating after dinner, 10 out of 10. So obviously there's a number of reasons. I generally are helping people get their body composition goals and change their outcome. So they're getting rid of the belly fat or they're building muscle. So when we're over consuming food, and especially after dinner, what are we going to do after dinner? We're generally heading to bed. So having to eat food before we go to bed, what's our body going to do with that? We're not going to be active. We're actually going to lie down and sleep. It's generally not helpful. So if we're going to have something after dinner, we have it right after dinner. And I teach the concept of this on my program. And the reason I say that is because I know those of you who follow me on social media will say, you eat protein ice cream every night. And I do, but I have it right after dinner. So literally it's actually part of my dinner. I have my dinner and I have my protein ice cream literally together. And there's a real good reason for that. And of course I teach that on my program. There's some theory behind it, but also because really to have our best quality sleep, we need to be having 2 or 3 hours of break of eating food before we're sleeping. So that means not eating after dinner is essential. So 10 out of 10 for not eating after dinner. Hitting our protein, 10 out of 10. Those of you who just did my free protein challenge will have learnt the benefits of hitting your protein. It is an absolute non-negotiable for us on our menopausal journey, and there are so many benefits. Stabilized blood sugar, hitting protein muscle synthesis, building muscle, hair, skin, nails, joints, bone health, like so many benefits. I'm not even going to, I could be here all day talking about why protein is so important. So absolute 10 out of 10 for hitting your daily protein. And I will just mention that this is the gold standard of protein consumption. When we hear people say you must eat a certain amount of protein 30 minutes after training, that is not the case. Protein muscle synthesis is a process that takes 24 hours in the body, minimum, sometimes longer. And so it actually matters how much protein you're eating over the day. That is what's important, people. So don't worry too much about protein timing around meals. The reason I split it up over the day is I consume 150 grams a day. So if I don't hit 40 grams at breakfast, it just makes the rest of the day where I'm trying to hit 150 grams really hard. So it's easier to split it up. The next one is the vegan diet. So if you do the vegan diet properly, it definitely can work. The vegans that I tend to deal with are not hitting their protein, and they're not understanding how to actually make the diet work correctly. So as a trend, I don't like it because it's not taught correctly and people don't do it properly. So therefore it's a 3 out of 10. If you're a vegan that's hitting your protein, you're supplementing correctly, they need to supplement, they're missing things, then of course it can be a 10 out of 10, but I don't meet many vegans, unfortunately, like that, and it's not taught properly. So 3 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, probably even a 2 out of 10. If you're doing it badly, it's actually really quite harmful for you. Cutting carbs out completely, which kind of ties back into our keto, 2 out of 10. So I actually tend to find this happen quite a lot in my Gen X age group, and that is because people have dabbled with it and either done keto or low carb, and so they've taken a food group out and they've lost weight. And so I tend to, on my programs, always have a few that pop up, and we have to train them. Because what happens when you cut a whole food group out, like carbohydrates, is that it's not sustainable. So yes, in 6 weeks, you might lose 5 or 10 kilos, 5 kilos probably, but you can't sustain it, because when you cut carbs out, your energy comes from carbohydrates. So then your energy crashes, you can't sustain it, and you yo-yo back. And that is, I must do a podcast episode with one of the girls that we went through. She was doing this cycle for 10 years. So I absolutely don't recommend it. There is nothing wrong with being low carb. Some people prefer it that way. One of our friends, he actually has like some insulin resistance and like on the verge of diabetes. So for him, he definitely needs to be low carb, and you can make that work, but you also need a strategy and a plan to do it. Low carb is different to no carb as well. My Thrive program is an absolute 10 out of 10, obviously, because some of these things we've talked about today, of course, you'll learn all of the information, and information is power. When we know better, we do better. And you're in an amazing community of women like you, and that research shows helps you get your results. Because even if you're having a bad day, you turn up to a call or you jump in that group, and that interaction motivates you to be better. So I love what I do. I'm so privileged I get to do what I do. We have my current Thrive program. I only run it 3 times a year. So I'm going to give a shameless plug about it, because I have the most amazing group of ladies in at the moment. They're so awesome, and the energy from them is amazing. They're really all doing their homework, and we're only a week in and they're already feeling better. It's so fun. My next program won't run till September. So I want you to know that if you are listening today and you like what you hear, and you want to learn more, and you want to feel your best and optimize yourself, then the waitlist will be up for the September round. The next one starts in September. So you can jump on board, jump on the waitlist, and then of course I'll keep you up to date over the next, 12 weeks. It's a bit longer before we start that, and keep you up to date. And in the loop on what I'm up to and what's going on. And then my waitlist actually gets the first option of jumping into the next program. So generally that comes with some bonuses and some extra little, maybe a call with me or something like this. There's always extra stuff for the waitlist people, so it's really the place to be. And if I do run another free protein challenge, then you people will know first. So I will leave the details here, and you can jump on board the waitlist and come join us on the next round. So thank you for joining today. I hope that this has been helpful. I will be making a social media reel, so you may catch that, but clearly I have already given you all the information here today. If you have anything to add, any comments, questions, concerns, please let me know here in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts and feedback, or if you have any questions. And truly, I want you to have a beautiful day. Thank you for tuning in and being here. I truly appreciate it. If you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, and then you won't miss anything I'm sharing with you. And that's all from me today. Sending lots of love, and see you next time. Oh, maybe I'll remind you, tomorrow, every week, I share a new menopause approved recipe. Generally, it's a sweet treat because that is my love language, only because I have a sweet tooth. But when you know how to eat your menopause approved sweet treats, then you can totally fit it into your lovely food that you are looking forward to eating. So if you're not already getting my emails, you can join my email list. And that means you'll get the recipes sent to your email, so you can print them out and make them yourself. You can watch out for them on social media, but really the email list is the place to be. So I just wanted to remind you about the weekly email recipes, because people really love like little sweet treats, if you're like me. So you're gonna love this week's one. It is a caramel Mars bar slice version, healthier version. I'm excited. I'm just about to go make it. So I will send it to you on the weekend if you join the email. Enjoy.